Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. The topic we're going to talk about today is managing applications and hiring from the application module, and showing you how the hire can go right into your employee cards. As some of you may be gearing up to begin a seasonal hire, some organizations do quite a bit of seasonal hires, and that should probably be starting up within another month or so, especially when college is let out, high school is let out for the summer. A lot of part-time seasonal employees may be needed in your organization, and this module, the application module, will help you very much in managing all those applications that you may be receiving for seasonal, part-time, and full-time hires. These can be kept in GP. It's going to be saved in the SQL, and it's always accessible within just a few clicks of your mouse. So what we're going to discuss on this application module is creating a job requisition, creating an applicant record. We're going to complete an offer letter. We're going to hire an applicant, and then we'll close a job requisition. The first thing we're going to want to do is set up a requisition record. And then we're going to, once we have that, we're going to set up an applicant and show you how this whole system flows all the way to hire and to requisition close. So here we are in our GP system. We'll be in HR and payroll. We will go into cards, and we're going to open up our job requisition. I went ahead and did one before this webinar just for time's sake, so that we can discuss these flows much in more detail rather than entering them. I'm sure you all know how to enter all these fields. The red fields are required, and all the other ones are optional. But when you want to start a new one, you can just, I started job requisition 1, and then it would be sequential after that if we wanted to save this one and just start a new one. It goes right to 2. You can start with 100, whatever you'd like. You have the option of the status being open, closed, on hold, and immediate. And of course, you've got your dates here that you're going to want to set up. Let me go back to my territory manager job requisition. The job posting can be internal, external. Here we can track the advertising that was done for it. Here is the company information of what this requisition will be for. You would just go ahead and select it. When you get these all set up in your, we'll go after this job requisition, we'll go down and show you some setup things. And you can just simply add the information that you feel is necessary for your company. Again, what's really neat here is you've got your cost field here. You can see that if you wanted to track your advertising and the recruiting of a position, you certainly can do that right here in these 2 fields. And if you click on the total cost, it will keep all that information right here in this window for you. So let's go down to some setup stuff. With your setup, you're going to want to go ahead and start setting up some of the fields maybe to begin with. That way, once all these fields are set up, you can just simply go into job requisitions and you can just flow through them much easier. If you don't want to do that, you certainly can just do it on the fly as you want, as you need. But we're going to be down here in HR payroll. We're going to be in setup. We'll go down to the HR side of everything. Let me just close this for now so that we can see better what we need to do. Here is an applicant user-defined field. And this is just simply that. It's just some fields that you may want to have for your specific organization that may not, or that does not exist within the GP cards as they're set up now. So as you're going through the applicant setup, and if you're like going through it and you think, oh, you know, this would be nice to have, you can use these applicant user-defined windows, these fields, to enter whatever you would like that for your organization that does not already exist in the cards. So this is where you would do that. When you're in those windows and you see a user-defined field, this is where you're going to set them up. You can look at your window layout, and that would be in this window. You can report on a setup. And this, whenever you see this little flip of the corner of a page, it just means that there's two sides to it. Okay? So now, with that said, let's go down and let's start setting up some some fields that you're going to maybe need for your applicant module. In here is some interviews that you can enter. You can have interview types. I went ahead and entered a couple of them myself. I just selected this one, structured interviews. Here you can do a range from 1 to, I just did 50, and each category has a 10-point weight to it. You can have whatever categories that you'd like. If you want to add one, you can certainly do that. You can put as many as you'd like in here. I'm just going to put test for now. I'm going to slide over here, and I've got 60. This button is if you want to delete one. If I chose, you know what, I don't really want this test one, I'm just going to get rid of it, I would click yes. Okay. Here you can look at these and say, you know what, I like this structured interview. I may want to duplicate that same one. You can do that. Enter a name for the duplicate. We'll just say structure. Well, yeah, structure. Click OK. And now we have a duplicate one here. Yes, I want to save changes, and now you can see that. So that saves you some time if you want to have duplicate. You can reorder this. You can reorder it by just clicking on these and moving them around. Okay, so these are some interview types. You can add some skill sets that may be needed for an applicant or for a job. Here I've entered some already, some skill sets. I've got critical thinking, management, technology, time management. If it's computer skills maybe, or some certain, I don't know, we'll just put test in here for now. Okay. Select OK. Yes, I want to add it. And then in here, you can add these skills in a skill set, and I just went ahead and added that. You can move these over. You can see the skill sets that we added already. And these are all set up too. Again, you've got your little notch here for your next page if you'd like to use it. And this is a sequence. You can move these around too. Same with the reorder. And there's some other things that you may want to set up. It's totally up to you what your organization wants. You could set up some tests if you have tests that you want an applicant to take. Maybe if it's for an accounting position, maybe you give an accounting test for them. For an applicant, you could set all this stuff up in here. And then once you get all your setup done, Let's move over to looking at an applicant here. I'm going to go up here to the cards, go down to HR again, and if you've noticed, there's this whole applicant module here. Just click on that. You'll see the drop down of everything that you can do within this module. So I showed you a job requisition. You're going to, every time have a position open, you're going to want to go ahead and set one of these up. You can set up as many as you like. They can always stay open if you want. They can close them and reopen them as needed. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to select an applicant. And you would just simply go ahead and enter the applicant's name, all their information. I, again, just went ahead and selected or entered Jason Sebastian. Fill in all the information that you want. The apply date and last and first name are required. Here you can see requisition number. And that is the one I set up already. And I'm just going to say Jason is applying for this territory manager position that this company has open. This button, the new button, would be for Jason. This is his card. But for instance, if he applied for a territory manager, but then also thought, I might want to do inside sales, you could select a new job requisition for him if one were open, and he could have several job requisitions just on his card. So I've gone ahead and filled all this in. You can fill in your Vet 100 information if you choose to here. I'm going to say that this is an active applicant, and he is willing to relocate. Here you can do referral source. I'll just select an internet, and we'll just put Indeed is, I believe, an internet job search. So I'm just going to put that in here. The color code is completely up to your organization, what you want blue to mean, green, yellow, red. Those are the 4 selections, or the NA, I guess, 5 selections that you can have. Unfortunately, we cannot change what the color means in this box here, so you may want to put that in your notes for the window. Maybe list them so that if somebody opens up this window, they'll know what blue, green, yellow, red mean. Here you can mark this if a reply letter was sent. And here's the extra fields I was speaking about earlier. Here you would set up your extra fields under the setup card, and you would label these categories for whatever it is that your company, your organization would like to see. Okay. So that's the basic setup of an applicant. Let's go down and let's look at the cost. This is a really neat feature again. Here we can track the cost of each applicant that we have. Not just the advertising that we showed earlier, but this is the cost of each applicant should you incur any. You can put your travel costs, lodging, moving, and other. You have a little note here for any notes that may need to be kept for each applicant. And again, you've got your paper clip, and you can attach that as well. So if anybody goes in to look at this record, let's say I started this record, I did enter these travel information, these costs, and I wrote some notes here for if somebody else were to come into this record later and wonder why those costs were incurred. I could write these notes, they can read them, and they can understand what's going on. So let's just say it cost $100 for travel, $130 for lodging, And we don't know if there's any moving involved yet because we don't know if we've hired this person yet. There's still an active person. They're still in the process of screening interviews and applicants. So right now I'm just going to leave that empty. I'm going to leave that blank for now. If I were to hire this person, I can always come back into this record, and if there is relocation fees, moving expenses, that type of thing, you certainly can add that to this window, and that will keep track of all of the expenses incurred for this applicant. Once I'm done, I can just move it over here, and the total cost is kept. Okay. I'm going to go down into education. Again, we can get their application or their resume. I can certainly enter any of their education into their record. For this purpose, I went ahead and put NDSU, the major, the year they graduated, their degree, what their GPA is, and what the base of the GPA is. The highest GPA that this degree or this major would allow. Again, we have our notes here, and it's simply the same as all the other times you see notes. Go ahead and enter them in here. Attach a scanned copy maybe of their diploma or anything related to their education that you would want to keep. Right here, it's all at a click away, and you don't have to go messing around with filing cabinets and employee records, applicant records, that kind of thing. If you should ever need to pull up this information, it's just click away. Very nice features. This module is so wonderful. It just keeps everything you ever need. Here we've got our interviews. Okay, so you may, depending on your organization, have several different types of interviews. For Jason, we are going to start with these interviews. This is, if you remember, the interview setup down here in the setup window. I went ahead and set that up. Most companies kind of have a standard interview. They may have a few different types: telephone, structural, second, first, final interviews, those kind of things. You can set these up all in the interview down here in the setup record. And then whenever you have an applicant, you just pull up that applicant's record, and here it is. We can score it as we want to. Here's the structured one, and here's the structure interview, telephone interview. These are the ones I showed you earlier in the setup window. So, you know, you can go ahead, you can look at this, and let's say we talked about the history. You know, we can always put some questions in here in this note. We could just write notes in here from the interview, the questions, how they answered, any kind of notes the interviewer is taking can be put here. Again, any attachments. And we can score them up, down, and go ahead and just play around with it, or, you know, for practice sake. And then once you implement it, we can always do this interview. You can have several people doing them. And here we have an interviewing rate. Okay. And the weight factor is 10. I just set that up. Again, it's up to your organization how you want to do it. So let's say this person has a 3.2 score out of 10. Not a great interview for my purposes. Maybe this is something that is something you would consider as an organization that way. Again, it's really up to you. All right. We have references. I went ahead and just entered in a couple of references, some professional ones. Here, let me do a personal one. Those aren't usually common anymore, but, you know, maybe some people do it. I'm just going to do it for just demonstration purposes. And I will say, let's say, clergy. And we'll just put test in here. And you would just complete all these. You would just go ahead and select insert, and then it would be down here. If you wanted to look at more of the information, you would just double click on it, and here we can see a little bit more information on what this reference is. We can do the expansion here, and we can also look at the selections and move them. And if you ever need to modify these, you certainly can. You just go into the record, modify it as needed, and you can delete as well in any of these windows. Okay, so that's references. We already did requisitions. The skills, I think we touched on, but we'll open that up again. So for time management, a skill set of time management, we have skills here, proven progression in career. I just went ahead and just entered some of these things. You would select it, you would write some comments in here, and you could put a proficiency rating on there if you wanted to. Here, you can do a skill set query. That would be if you had all of these set up for all of your applicants or even all of your employees, you can do a query on a certain skill set. Let's say you were looking for somebody who knew how to weld, and you had all that set up for your employees as well as your applicants. You can set up a query here to do them for both, just on applicants or just on employees. You would go ahead and name a query, and you would select the skill set. For these purposes, I'll just do test, and then you would start selecting all of the people that are going to be in your query, and then you would save that, and this would pull up everybody within that field if you had all of them set up with these skill sets for whichever you want, employees, applicants, or both. Really neat feature there. All right, we talked about user defined, and we can look at work history also. A lot of this information you're just going to get right off of the person's application or resume. And I went and looked at, added ABC company, another company. If you wanted to do more, you certainly can. It will hold up as many as you want. Let's say, okay, and then you would just enter all of this information. You can enter how much they made. For the one that I entered for ABC Company, you can see that I filled out the information here, how much they made for a wage. You can do weekly all the way down to daily miscellaneous. All right. So let's just say all of this is done. We've done the interviews. We are liking to maybe offer the position. We're going to offer Jason the position. You go into the applicant offer here. And this is really a very, very efficient, slick piece of this applicant module. So we've got Jason, we like him, we want to offer him a position. You can put in how much money or what the salary will be. And that would be annual. You would put a signature line, let's say, okay. Here is the start date. Let's say we're just going to make this April 3rd start date. You would like to know if they're going to accept this offer by the 23rd. Shift code, if there is one, you would put that in here. And here is a really nice feature. These are the benefits that our company is going to offer this employee. You can offer any one of them simply by marking any or all or selection, depending on your organization, the position. Let's go ahead and just select them all. And I'm going to click Save. sorry, I forgot some fields up here. Here we are. Okay. Now this is a to-do entry. Now this is just for you, for myself, that's keeping track of these offers. I am going to start a to-do list. This is certainly up to you if you want to use it. You don't have to, but you can default to a date or select your date. It tells you the time it was done. We'll put PM because I'm not going to be doing it at 12:30 in the morning. Here's your company. The category is an applicant. Your priority on this, how important is it? We're just going to put it at medium, and we're going to do this as in progress because it has not been accepted yet. And look at Jason Sebastian's reply to offer 1 is due. And here's a post early reminder. I want to know in 5 days. It's going to let me know that I'm looking for this, okay? So just want to go into Jason. And here it is, all that information we selected. Save, it's ready, it's out there. Okay. So the offer's been done, all right? Let's go in and let's hire. Well, actually, let's go back to the offer letter. One more thing I forgot to show you. The one nice thing about this offer letter, another nice thing I should say, is it will write letters for you. The system will bring all of this into a nice, neat letter that your organization can use. Here's one that's in there already. Here's a letter maintenance. You can select a new letter, you can create a new one, you can edit, you can delete one. For the purposes of this demonstration, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to prepare an offer letter. Click on next. It's going to Jason. I'm going to click on next. I'm just going to put in my name, HR Jenna. You can enter all this information if you'd like. I'm going to click on finish. And this is preparing the letter. It's going to pop right into Word. Word and Excel are interfaced with GP, so it's super nice for these purposes. Look at this beautiful offer letter that pops up automatically for you. Gives us Jason's information, exactly what we're offering him, fills in the position, our company, the start dates, what we're going to offer him for the salary and benefits, and then, when we would like his intentions to be known, when we're expecting his acceptance or declining of the position. You can send this out via email, print it out, it will be saved in the employee's record, and it's always there. How nice is that, right? Very, very, very easy, efficient, and clean. All right, so let's say that Jason accepted our offer. So let's go in and let's hire him. We'll click on the Hire button, and I'm going to look for Jason. And here's his information. This is pulling everything from the applicant. Now, my GP is set up where I enter the employee ID. If your organization has it set up to automatically put an ID in there, that would pop up here. For this purpose, I'm just going to put Sebastian 0001. Fills in your company, the department for which he's being hired, and his position. You can enter a location if you'd like. All of this information is really up to you if you want it done. Here he's going to be a full-time regular, but you do have these other options. And the work hours per year is generally 2,080 for full-time. That's automatically defaulted. And we're going to hire him for, let's say April 3rd. Okay? I'm going to save that. Here it's going to pop up a question. Do you want to continue entering the employee-related information for this hire? I'm going to say yes. And look what it does. It brings you right into the employee maintenance window. Isn't that great? It automatically defaults to all the information that we have in Jason's applicant record in his module. All this information is automatically filled in. You don't have to do any of that. What you do have to do is you're going to have to enter all the other information that is not in the applicant module. His SUDA, his taxes, any extra phone numbers, all that kind of stuff, okay? So I'm just going to save this for now. Go in. And here he is, right there. Again, you're going to have to go in and fill in, some other things. But let's look at pay code. We have to enter in this information because it does not flow over from the module of the applicant, but all the other stuff did. So it's a nice time saver for those instances. If we had clicked on any of the Vet 100 information, that would have flowed over. And just like any other new hire, the basic stuff that you normally have to enter, you'll just have to go in and finish that up. If you didn't want to do it right away, you can always cancel or say no to that window, and you can always go back in later and enter it as you would like. So with that said, we did show the applicant letter in the offer letter. So today what we did is we created a new job requisition. We saw the ease of setting up, maintaining, and closing a job requisition. Actually, I didn't show you how to close it. I can do that real quick here. The requisition, you would go back, once it's all filled and we've hired somebody, I would pull up the requisition, and I would just change it from an active requisition to a closed one. So here it's an open one. I'm going to say it's closed now because we have hired it, so I would just save it. That's simple. We demonstrated the setup of an applicant record and the navigation and all of the fields that you may or may not want to set up for your organization. And we created an offer letter using the applicant data. And I showed you how to hire that applicant and how it flows right into the employee maintenance card. Are there any questions? No, I don't see any in the queue. All right. Well, thank you for your time today. If you want to have more information regarding the applicant module, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can contact me either by my direct email or certainly by calling the office, the main line. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And again, thank you for spending some time with us today on learning more about the applicant module. I hope you all have a wonderful day.